Good evening. My name is Sayasat Nurum and my partner is Sapar Nazar. And we are going to present you our presentation about food security.
uh, Nowadays food security become a really big issue, and maybe most of you don't know what does it mean. So food security is actually firstly defined by United Nations Committee on the World Food Security, and food security is the condition in which all people at all times have physical, social, or economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food.
So as Nazar said, food security nowadays is a very big issue and lots of country nowadays can deal with this problem. As you can see from this map, there are index of each country and it's um, this index become from the very light one is green and very strong to the red. As you can see, our country Kazakhstan index is orange, is the middle one. It means that the risk of uh, the risk of deprivation or obesity in our country is pretty medium.
In the next slides, we wanted to press some points and show you some issues related to the food security. So there are some issues which are stands out, like global water crisis, climate changes, land degradation, and greedy land deals. So if you go through from first to last, global water crisis is a really big issue, not only in not developed country in Africa, but also become a big issue in very developed countries such as northern China or US. Also, it's a big issue for the big countries in land. Also, the global problem is the climate change, because a lot of scientists are very worried about that situation, about global warming and our other emissions to the air. And some big problems has the agricultural countries with the land degradation, and there is no new plants to grow in that countries, and they have to put some effort to change the situation.
So we talk about statistics about world food and hunger. Uh, in the statistic given that one of six children, uh, if we consider as a 100 million, in developing countries, every 10th children has underweight, and 66 million primary school age children attend to their classes hungry. Across the developing countries, 33% of school age children nowadays go to school hungry. This statistic is very bad, and the main issue which food security community need to tackle is to solve the problem of children. What that's children problem. Uh, so another problem is from this statistic is poor nutrition causes nearly half of deaths in children under the age of 3 is this reason.
Um, Also, as you can see from this slide, that nearly half of the children that under the 5, they have percent of they have 3.1 million children each year dies from the bad nutrition. So also one of the big issues with the food security is that access to the quality. So some of the countries really had the access, but the quality of that food is really bad, to say at least. So some that causes not only health problems but also other economic problems, such as it delays economic growth and the job creation. It affects poverty, and it reduce your trade opportunities. So the good side of it, that if you will be focused on the uh, making better food quality, and give access to your people for the better food, you have some opportunities to not only fix your nutrition and food problems, but also your economic problems and political maybe. So it will be help in a world size to increase global security and stability, also improve health of the your citizens at all.
In this diagram, we can see that food nutrition security is divided to main three aspects. First one is availability of food. Second one is access to this high quality food, and another one is use and utilization these resources. So in availability, when we consider availability, we say about crop production, efficient water use, stock, and trade. It means that every people in our planet should have easily access uh, to the normal foods. It means that they need to have enough access to the efficient water and crop productions. Another aspect is we talk about access. It means that they should have enough opportunity to buy and consume these products. It means that they need to have enough income, and the prices should be low to be available, and markets should be full of these healthy foods, and the transfer from the big cities to the rural areas should be enough goods. And when we talk about the transfer, we also consider infrastructure. It means that uh, villages, rural areas outside from the city should have access to the drinkable, good quality water. That's a big issue which most of countries try to solve. And after that, we came to the problem of the correctly use and utilization of these products. When we talk about use and utilization, one thing that's come to mind is food and nutrition knowledge, food preparation and nutrition behavior, cultural traditions, knowledge, standards, and health status. So that means that our society should be enough knowledge and know the standards of utilization these products without any bad influence to the environment.
So this infographics gives you the information about how food security lives in a condition of urbanization world. So it's a kind of prediction for the future. So if we consider the situation that we have today, and just analyze the future, we may see that 3 of the world's population will live in urban areas in the future. So we have some problems with the population in the rural areas. So 95% of the world population growth will occur in the developing nations. So that means already developed countries such as Germany, USA, and other developed countries will be reduced in population, and such countries as some developing countries from the Africa and Asia will be become leaders in the population. So the 80% of the food for cities comes from the domestic sources nowadays. So it will be some big issues with that because most of the people will be live in cities. And if we consider that 60 and 80% of their incomes comes from the food, so it will be reduced economic growth of already developed countries, and will be helping to boost the economic growth of the developing countries. So as we can see that urbanizations have some pretty good sides and the bad sides also. So, but in for food security in general, it has mostly bad effects. So it's important to encourage people to keep their livings in the rural areas and provide them some opportunities to grow their businesses or small uh, farms or whatever.
So another big problem which nowadays all developed countries face is obesity and overweight. From this infographic you can say the 10 most obese countries on the earth. There is no doubt and everybody knows that for America obesity is very big problem, and 33.8% of the citizens nowadays suffer from obesity. From this graph we can say that Germany and Hungary has the lowest number in this rating, but it should be like equal to 0 to be the most good condition. So overweight and obesity is defined as abnormal and excessive fat accumulation that may impair their health. There is no doubt that if the most of citizens suffer from obesity and overweight, the most of the citizens will suffer from lots from the variety types of disease, and it may have a bad influence and impact to the future generation. So
Some key facts about the food security situation in the world. So the worldwide obesity has nearly tripled since 1975. So it means like it's has growing tendency. So in 2016, more than 1.9 billion adults and 18 years and older have overweight. So overweight become really big problem, and also most of the world population live in the countries where overweight and obesity kills more people than the underweight. So we can see that the fun fact with it's not really funny, but that fact is food security affects not only hunger but also obesity, which is maybe bigger problem for developed countries. So also 41 million children under the age of 5 were overweight or obese, and so on. So as you can see that tendency with obesity also very big, and it's what food security have deal with.
So that's all that we want to say. We mentioned two big problems about food security. It's hunger and obesity. I think that we could explain you everything that we want. Thank you for attention.